everybody. It's Dr. Nelson with Wood River Dental Care. I want to talk a little bit today about one of my favorite procedures, one of the cooler things that we do in dentistry, and one that we get a lot of questions about, and that is dental implants. Okay, so I'm imagining that a lot of you have questions on what a dental implant is, how it works, who it can work on, who it can't. So I want to discuss some of these things. So all a dental implant is, it's usually when we say dental implant, when we say it in the inside, in the practice, we are typically talking about one part of a 3-component system. Typically when you hear advertising for implants, or if you hear it out on the internet or whatever, it's going to be talking about the whole system. So each implant system contains 3 components, and that's the implant body itself, which mimics a root of a tooth. It's what goes down into the bone, and it's what anchors the tooth portion of that implant into the body. And so the implant body is what we call it, is usually made out of titanium. Sometimes there's zirconia, and zirconia is a ceramic, and there are some pros and cons to both, but most systems and most brands are titanium body, and that's the root portion. So it has the root portion that goes into the bone, and then you have obviously the tooth portion which sits on top of that, and then you have an abutment that connects the two together. So it's usually 3 components. Once in a while there are some systems that are only 2 components, but typically you're going to find them in a 3-component system. There's also a lot of different kinds of brands and types of implants. Most of them vary very little. They're usually cylinder shaped or bolt shaped, as you can kind of see in this, and typically they, like I say, are made of titanium. The different systems that you're going to find will vary across who you go and see. All the manufacturers may claim that one is better than the other, but typically they're all about the same, and they all work really, really well with a high level of predictability and a high level of success. It's one of the reasons we like them so much. Another really nice thing about doing an implant is that if you happen to lose a tooth, maybe you get hit in the face, or you are born without a tooth, or you lost one due to something else, rather than doing a bridge, which we'll talk about in a different video, you can do a tooth for a tooth. So that's the beautiful thing about an implant, is that you don't have to touch the other teeth to get a restoration. You can actually just replace the single tooth or a couple of teeth that are missing. There's also some other cool things you can do with dental implants that we're going to get into, and that is where we can do, say you're missing all of your teeth and you're looking for a way to get better stability in your bite, better comfort, better predictability. So implants offer us that as well. So in addition to there being a lot of different brands, there's a couple of different systems that are used to put them in. So in our office, in our practice, we really believe in what's called a guided implant system. And so what a guided implant system does is it is computer-based technology where we take a 3D scan of your jaw, and then we marry that with a physical model of your jaw. And we are able to take that and use some really cool technology to pre-plan where that implant will go. Now that gives us some advantages. Obviously there's advantages on missing vital jaw anatomy that you don't want to touch or be around. It allows us to see what size implant is going to be optimal for that whatever site it is we're restoring. And then the biggest thing that it does for us is, once we pre-plan all of that, is that it gives us a guide, and we actually have a guide made that we put the guide in. That's why it's called guided implant placement or guided implant surgery. And we use that guide to take away all the guesswork at the time of placement. So when we go to put in the implant, it's already taken care of. All the guesswork has been pre-planned. There's a lot less stress for you, a lot less stress for us, and things are much more predictable, and it's much more efficient, and the success rate is higher. So that's another thing to know. Another thing I wanted to talk about is these, you're gonna hear a lot about teeth in a day. So that's something that you hear on the radio. You're going to see billboards off on the highway or whatever. And this idea of teeth in a day usually is talking about someone that is missing all their teeth, maybe they have some teeth that need to come out. And the idea is that someone will come in, have all those teeth taken out, and then implants put in, and then dentures that go on those implants to support it, and then the patient leaves with those teeth in one day. So that's a one-day appointment. So those are pretty select, and some of those people that advertise with that might be a little bit misleading with the information they give, because it's not for everybody. There are a lot of specifics that have to be looked at and a lot of planning that goes into those. So don't be misled by that, and please let us know if you have any questions about implants in a day. We'd be happy to talk about that. Okay, so what are the other indications in who can have an implant, who can't have an implant? So we talked about it before. Implants can be used to replace a single tooth, multiple teeth, or all your teeth. Now, for those who are interested in implants for replacing all their teeth, we don't actually put an implant in for every missing tooth. What we do instead is we do what's called a hybridization, and these are really, really cool. And so typically we'll place a few implants in the top or bottom, depending on what needs to be done. And then that system, those implants are used to hold in a prosthetic. And there's a couple ways you can do it. These can either be fixed, which means that they are put in with and held in with actually a screw system and they're not taken out, or they can be put in with something that's called a locator. And a locator or locators, these are really cool. These are like snaps or buttons that you would have on a jacket. And they snap in and out, and the retention is much, much greater than you would ever have with just a regular denture. And so we really love implants for that, because that is life-changing for a lot of our patients. The other fun thing that we can do is often if there's a space, that someone is missing maybe some back teeth on the upper right or upper left, that we can replace multiple teeth with only a couple of implants. So that's really, really cool. And so implants have opened the door to restore and change the life of a lot of people that otherwise wouldn't have a restoration possible. The last thing I want to talk about is who's eligible, who's it good for, who isn't it good for. So there's a couple of things that go into this, because implants won't work for every person in every situation. There obviously needs to be enough bone there to put an implant in. So I'm going to encourage anybody that sees this, and especially our patients, that if you ever have a tooth extracted and you're not sure, if you're on the fence on whether or not you might have an implant put in that place later on, then talk to your doc about a bone graft at that time, because that sets you up for success later on. It's something that we really believe in. It's something that was taught to me by an awesome mentor out of North Carolina dental school, who came and lectured to us, that he said, if you do your patients one service, make sure that you graft any sites that you take a tooth out, because it'll set them up for success later on. It does impact the health of the teeth around it. So that's something that I would want you to talk to either us or talk to your doc about. So there needs to be enough bone there, and it needs to be of good quality. And so we can usually find that out through some imaging that helps us to know. The other thing is if you have some underlying health factors that may limit you from getting an implant. Smoking can be a factor as well. Now, smoking doesn't necessarily mean you can't have an implant, but it could be a factor in whether or not the success rate will be high or not. And so these are all things that we would definitely want to discuss and that you should be aware of going into getting an implant. So again, love doing these videos. Hopefully that helps answer some questions on what an implant is, how it works, and if you ever have any questions, please let us know. We'd love to help out. And yeah, we just want to help you out with your oral health and making decisions and living the best life you can. One last thing I want to talk about before we sign off is to let you know about a survey we have on our website. If you go to woodriverdentalcare.com and click on implants, there's a survey you can take there to see if you're a candidate for implants. It's a really quick and easy way for us to be able to help you out and answer some questions for you. But once again, just go to woodriverdentalcare.com and we'll be able to help you out and get you started on a path to better oral health. All right, thank you. See ya. So the implant body is like the root of a tooth. I don't want to redo that. I have to start over because I just lost my train of thought. They are wonderful, some wonderful techniques, and I just botched it again. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about something that I really love. We got someone in the background. Hey everybody, it's Dr. Nelson with Woodward.